going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new tactic, and today we have got a banger. We have got a retro Mourinho tactic. I previously polled, do you want to see some tactics from the 2007-2008 era? And yes, dominated the vote poll. So today we have got 3 teams from that era using Mourinho's Real Madrid tactics. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, if you are interested in getting all of my tactics on download, you can check it out on the Patreon and description, where currently you can be part of a team of close to 5,300 people. Let's run it up. So then, let's start with Real Madrid. Obviously, an incredible team, and you can get a brief glimpse of some of the players we got to use in the game. If you haven't tested using this database, go and have some fun. It's completely free. Any questions, leave them in the comments, because it's so fun. Genuinely, Mad Scientist always does such a good job. What a guy. The Spanish Super Cup, we are going to go out and unfortunately lose. It is on penalties, but I will showcase the results. The Spanish Cup, a 2-1 win over Sevilla, so happily claim that one. We just about beat ourselves in the Champions League, showing how good this tactic is to go head-to-head against a team like Real Madrid. A great performance there. And the league, we are going to go invincible, with 32 wins and 6 draws, and Barcelona being quite comfortably behind us. Van Nistelrooy is going to be the top goal scorer. Very nice to see. Robben, the best average rating, the most assists. Ramos, second most assists. Casillas, the most clean sheets. So refreshing to see new names in this team. Now, I will go and say the team stats: 128 goals, the most shots, the fewest shots against, and defensively, we were an absolute joke. Very good at the back, loads of goals being scored. Possession-wise, quite consistent, with 58% as well. And the data hub, well, the data hub looks beautiful. 3.37 goals per game. Lovely. But to the Bernabeu, a game against Atletico Madrid, and I tell you what, an immaculate start there. 1-0 inside of 22 minutes, and Atletico decide to be generous and let's have another. Pepe into Gargo, plenty of space to drive into, plays it in to Marcelo, over the top into Robben, and that is a Robben-esque finish. A 2-0 advantage, and the goals, they didn't stop there. We're going to carry on. 77 minutes on the clock. Hines into Gargo. Plenty of space on the ball. Just driving. He's driving. He's playing it through into Marcelo. And a cheeky finish will take it. A great goal there being scored inside of 78 minutes. And one more. Ramos. A ball. Very good set piece. Raul back inside. Marcelo. Simply lovely. And then we go over to Chelsea. Didier Drogba, Ashley Cole, you know, Malouda, them sorts of names being thrown about, where the only thing, to be honest, which we struggle in is, well, not even struggle, we get to a Champions League final. The English Community Shield, we do lose, sadly, against United. The English League Cup, of course, now the Carabao Cup, we are going to win on penalties. And the FA Cup, we are also going to push it to extra time, but beat Newcastle 4-0 eventually. Now, of course, the talking point, the league. We are going to lose 2 games against Arsenal and United, who have got stacked teams as well. Adebayor at Arsenal, a bit of an interesting one. Didier Drogba, top goal scorer. Malouda and Ashley Cole, the top assisters. Petr Cech. I love doing this, man. The throwbacks are really fun, and I cannot recommend. Robbie Savage, you need to go and play this database, guys. Honestly, you're at the stage of the game now where you want to try and have some fun. Get on the databases. Honestly, so much fun. 140 goals being scored, over 800 shots, the fewest shots against, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. Now, what surprised me here was the possession, because we're not really playing a possession-based game, but we do come out and actually have 61% of the ball, and are pretty much up there with the likes of United and Arsenal, so a great performance there in that regard. In terms of the data hub, 3.68 goals per game, only 0.53 conceded, a good pass completion, a good amount of shots per game. The tackle-win ratio is a little bit low, I will be honest, but it's a Mourinho tactic. We're going to put a challenge in. Right then, off to Wembley, and in this extra time 4-0 win over Newcastle, which tells me there must have been a little bit of a bottle going on. Carvalho is going to make it 1-0, and this is the issue. They actually conceded 2 goals in the first half of extra time, with Ballack playing a ball inside into Pizarro. These names, I mean, they've got Shea Given in goal. That's a proper throwback. Players that you completely probably forgot about, to be honest. And we just kept on going with Wright Phillips down the right-hand side, taking on his man, a ball in the box, his back stick, and he's free. Awful defending there, as we are going to go 3-0 up in the 105th minute, and we've got time for one more. Big Ballack. Beautiful. And lastly, FC Porto, where we win the Portuguese quadruple. The Portuguese Super Cup, we are going to win 6-0 over Sporting. The League Cup, 2-0 over Sporting. The Portuguese Cup, different team finally, 4-0 in that regard as well. So all of the Portuguese Cups we are going to win, and the actual league, we come out, and what do? Don't go invincible. We lose 2 games there against, I can't say the first one, but also Benfica. So it is going to be still a remarkable season with players like Ricardo Quaresma, Helton in goal, Gonzalez, some really good performers in this team. And as for the stats, once again, possession, incredible, most dribbles, defensively, absolute brick wall. Loads of goals, loads of shots, and really, the only team that knocked us off our perch a little bit is Sporting when it comes to the more elegant side, the possession, the passing, which of course isn't really our game plan. Now, this is by far the most goals at 4.15, 0.38 conceded, a good pass completion, a bit of an up-tackle win ratio, and also more shots. So, I mean, we've gone from 3 very, very Mourinho-based teams in Real Madrid, Chelsea, Porto. Honestly, some really good results, so I'm happy with that. Let's look at some highlights from this Porto season, and this is a game I've cherry-picked because there is 5 goals of the finest quality, and I tell you what, we do not waste time. A goal inside of 33 minutes, another goal from Quaresma just before half-time from the penalty spot, and we go again. Plenty time for more goals. Look at the play with Basingwa. What a throwback that is. Down the right, in the middle, and it is a beautiful finish to make it 3-0, and so far, so good in this game, and the goals just keep on coming. Quaresma, great ball in. Basingwa, great header as well. It is such a good performance from this team. And looking at some of these players, the throwbacks, it's so refreshing to see, and a simple 5-0 win. Right then, people, over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment below if you do want to see more of these retro tactics. And if you enjoy rebuilds, make sure you head on over to Daily Josh, because we might even do some retro rebuilds. So let me know what you think to that. But to make this tactic, you want to start off by loading in, by scrolling down and going a create your own style and load in a 4-2-3-1. That is right, Mourinho used to rock this back in the day. Now he's more of a 3-back specialist, so quite nice to, you know, have a different side to Mourinho. Now, we're going to go down to the bottom left and change all the way up to positive because, believe it or not, it's actually quite an attacking tactic. So let's go through now and discuss some of the player roles. Now, the goalkeeper is going to be a sweeper keeper on defend. We are then going to go to the right back, who is going to be a fullback on support with 2 instructions: stay wide and also set to tackle harder. When it comes to the left back, obviously we have got Marcelo, so we were trying to obviously factor that into our decision making, and we have simply got him on a default wing back on attack. If you want to go a little bit more crazy, you could have him, for example, on crossing more, taking more risks, but for me, we simply had him as a wing-back on the default. We are then going to have a central defender on the default when it comes to being on the left. And on the right, we are going to operate with 1 ball-playing defender. And that does complete a very mixed but positive backline, because although these wing-backs aren't being told, well, the left-back is, the right-back's not being told to exactly go forward all the time, and naturally he will go on a little run now and then. And because we've got such an attacking attack, we don't always want him to go crazy, which is why we've not added on get forwards, dribble more, all of this stuff. We've kept him quite reserved because just as the player who was there, he naturally will go on those runs anyway, so you don't want to go too crazy. Now, going to the sort of deeper options, on the right-hand side, the only option which is pretty realistic is going to be the anchor on the right-hand side, on the default, simply on defend, who by default has 4 instructions. On the left, we are going to use a DLP on support, and that is simply going to be set to tackle harder. So a very nice pairing here. You've got one man as the anchor, sitting quite deep, protecting the back line, not really taking many risks, holding that position, and then you've got more of a playmaker who is also going to be quite deep, putting in challenges, but he will be more risky when it comes to taking the passes, which is what you need in a team like this. I do want to quickly say at this part of the video, if you are interested in getting all of these wonderful perks, which does include all of the tactics today, also getting them on mobile, on console, all my rebuild files, access to this month's £800 giveaway, that is £100, which 8 winners get to claim. So £800 total, split between 8 people, so multiple people get a happy day. If you are interested, the Patreon is going to be in the description, where currently we are pushing to 5,300 people. So make sure you come on over, because the community is beautiful over there, so hopefully I see some new faces. We are now going to go over to the left-hand side, and it is going to be an inside forward who is simply going to be set to attack. with a couple of instructions being none other than roam and also sit narrow, because on this side, that wing back, oh boy, he is going to get forward. So I want this player to sort of, sit narrow, not take up the area of the pitch, because we saw Marcelo, he got involved, 2 goals in 1 game. He can make it happen, so make sure you are giving him the opportunity to show what he can actually do. Now on the right hand side, we are going to use a winger on attack, so a little bit different, but again, he is going to cut inside and he's also going to roam. So when the player has the ball, he will be cutting in, so if a fullback does decide to come up, he will also have that wonderful overlapping option. Through the middle, we are going to go and have an AP, who is simply going to be set to support, and he's going to have 3, I've done 2 there, 3 instructions being moving into the channels, roaming, and also tackling harder. This guy will roam about all over the shop to really create and help link up the play from left to right to feed the striker as well, who is that advanced forward, on roam and simply tackle harder as well. And that's going to complete your player roles. Now going over to the team instructions. Again, clean slate on the positive. We are going to go all the way up to fairly wide, and we are simply going to overlap left for Marcelo. No direct indicator to do that for the right-hand side. Pass into space, mix crosses, run at defence, the tempo all the way up, and the passing down by 1 to shorter. So a big sort of style on running at the opposition, attack on that counter. Very, very more aggressive than the current Mourinho teams of today, but it is quite nice to play with this way, so I can't really complain. In transition, we are going to regroup and sit quite deep, but then we're going to counter, so the wing backs will push up, the front 4 will really fly, and when you've got the quality in any of these tests we've done, it's an absolute nightmare for any opposition. And for distribution, we are simply going to play to the back line with no real favoured distribution type. Out of possession, we are going to go right away and deploy the mid-block, as you'd expect, much more often, and also get stuck in. Because if there's one thing that I can tell you about a Mourinho tactic, it will involve putting a challenge in. Now, of course, I've got you boys and girls with an attacking version. If you're 1-0 down, you're drawing, you want to get back into a game, or you simply are playing against a really small team and you think, I want to get some goals, you can play this tactic. So the goalkeeper and the ball players are somewhat similar. The goalkeeper is the same. The ball players are now 2 of them, and both of them are on dribble more. The fullback on the right, stay wider, tackle harder on attack. So again, going up to attack. The wing back on the left does remain the same. The DLP on the left remains unchanged. The Roman playmaker, a big change opposed to the anchor to help playmake, as you'd expect, and he is simply going to be told to move into channels. The winger on the right remains the same, the inside forward remains the same, the AP remains the same, as does the advanced forward as well. So the real change being made, actually more at the back, and also one obviously big change in the midfield. Now the next thing is we're going to go from positive all the way up to attacking. We are still going to be looking at a fairly wide attacking width. We're going to pass into the space, but this time we are going to overlap right and also overlap left. So really encouraging that forward play from the wide areas. Shorter, a higher tempo, and the double up, a run at defence, and also be more expressive. I am not afraid to let my players make big decisions and go forward and take risks. If I'm playing an attacking tactic, that is what you expect. And because of that, we are literally trying to score goals rapidly. We are going to hit the counter press on and counter and still play to the back line. So again, that one instruction change from regroup to counter is a big change. If you're chasing a goal, it makes much more sense to really get stuck in and get some challenges in, opposed to obviously regrouping and sitting quite deep. Out of possession, we are going to change it a fair bit to the high press and the high defensive line, with step up more, get stuck in, and also a maxed out trigger press. Now, I have gone and made a defensive tactic. Now, this one I would say is not to be used from minute 1. I will say that. This is to be used to seal out a game in the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because it is quite a, let's say, more sit-back, direct approach to football, which, it works in this game, sadly. You can get a lot of goals by playing it, but it's not the most attractive football. Now, the goalkeeper remains the same. The ball player and the central defender comes back in. The fullback on the right, defend, default. Wing-back, left, default. A very defensive back line. With the anchor coming back in on the right, a defensive DLP on more direct and also tackle harder. So a very defensive back line here. The inside forward on the right is going to be on support, on cross aim centre, roam, and also stay wider. On the left, exactly the same. Through the middle, that role does remain unchanged, as does the advance forward. We have now gone all the way down to cautious. Cautious mentality. The attack and width does remain the same. We are still going to pass into the space with mixed crosses, but this is where the tactic, it changes. So we're going to go one up to more direct, which makes the tempo standard. We're going to run at defense because I still want that counter-attacking style when we are playing these direct passes, and time wasting all the way up to frequently. And if you've got mine, also play for the set pieces because you're going to score goals from them, and sometimes that's how you get your goals when you're playing like this. In transition, the regroup comes right back, counter because I still want a chance of scoring goals, slow the pace down and play to anyone across the back line. So again, another time-wasting gimmick almost coming in to run the clock down furthermore. And out of possession, we are going to go with the lower defensive line and that lovely mid-block. We're still going to keep the press going because I want a little bit of something about us, but we are going to look to stay on our feet and be very, very, very annoying to play against. And that's going to give you, boys and girls, 3 variants of the Retro Mourinho Real Madrid tactics. If you want any other retro tactics made, we have got one more guaranteed, that is Sir Alex Ferguson. Any more, please leave me a comment below, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Love for watching the video, and thank you for 32k.